Today we're going to be answering the question of what is a reclamation system and whether or not one is necessary for you. Let's get into it. Before we get into explaining exactly what a reclamation system is, I want to go ahead and preface that if you do want one, you have to have a dust collection system. Now, to understand what a reclamation system is, we actually have to understand what a dust collection system is first. Pretty simple to its name, a dust collection system actually pulls the dust out of the process and collects it, and it's what's going to be providing that pressure differential that actually allows your reclamation system to work. So now that you understand what a dust collection system is, we can actually move into the reclamation system. So you can see there are a few hoses that flow in and out of this thing. Those are very important for airflow, and that also determines where your abrasive / dust is let out. So as you are blasting inside your cabinet here, inside the chamber, your abrasive is coming out, it's hitting your part, that's creating dust and reusable media that falls down into the hopper. It's then pulled into the top of the reclamation system here. And what happens is a cyclone is formed. This works off of the same centrifugal properties that you would see if someone's slinging a bucket around with water in it and it keeps that bucket in there. So essentially what happens is your heavier media is not as affected by the vacuum that's being pulled by the dust collection system. So it spins to the exterior and actually falls back down into this hopper, which that's actually where your either pressure pot or metering device like you see here is that allows media to flow back into the cabinet. The lighter abrasive that is non-reusable because it's broken down so much, or rather the dust that's created from the blasting process is affected by that vacuum. It's then pulled into the top part of the reclamation system and sucked into your dust collector. Essentially what this is a very high speed separator, if you want to think about it that way. If it is a large particle abrasive, it's going to pull that out, put it back into the bottom of this hopper. That way it can be reused. If it's small, broken down abrasive, or dust rather, is going to be pulled into the dust collection system. That way it's not put back into the blasting process. All right, so let's hit on a few of the benefits of a reclamation system. As you guys saw, you are separating your usable media from your dust and broken down media. Now, what this allows you to guarantee is that if you have any sort of blasting spec, so a certain surface roughness that you are trying to achieve, or if you have a specific abrasive requirement that you must be blasting with, this guarantees that you are blasting with the correct abrasive. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, with this machine, we are using a 220 aluminum oxide. And as we are blasting, of course, you're gonna have abrasive wear and that starts to break down. This reclamation system is actually going to pull that unusable media out into the dust collector, and you are only going to be left with that 220 aluminum oxide that you need. Now, this guarantees that the part that you pull out is going to be the exact same as the part that you pull out 10 units down the line, depending on the size. And of course, as you start to use that media, you can just quickly reload it here inside the hopper on the reclamation system. So again, it is a very good way of guaranteeing that you have the exact same repeatable results over many different parts. Now, the other two benefits of a reclamation system are, first of all, it does help increase the visibility inside your cabinet. Now, this is because it's paired with the dust collector, so you are pulling that abrasive that's being sprayed around inside the cabinet and that dust that's being sprayed around inside the cabinet. But also what it does is it guarantees that that dust is separated completely. So that way, inside your cabinet, you do not have any dust residual that's left inside of there that is blocking your vision. Again, it also does help with abrasive loss. If you guys are just running a dust collection system, it's going to be pulling and there's not going to be as much of a separation effect, which means that you could actually be losing usable media to your dust collection system. The reclamation system, think of it as a high-speed separator. It's going to prevent any of that usable media from being sent directly into your dust collector. So it will kind of save you money over the long run. So hopefully now you understand what a reclamation system is for. And now we're going to answer the question of whether or not a reclamation system is necessary for you. Now, if you are any sort of manufacturer or remanufacturer that has a certain specification, kind of how I mentioned earlier, where you have a certain surface roughness that you must be achieving or a specific blasting abrasive that you must be blasting with, then you absolutely should have a reclamation system just so that you can guarantee that the quality of your work is up to your standards. standards. Again, this is going to verify that when you say you are blasting with 120 aluminum oxide, you are blasting with 120 aluminum oxide. On the flip side, if you are a hobbyist or a small shop that's just looking to remove some corrosion off of engine cases, is a reclamation system necessary? Absolutely not. So truthfully, to answer the question, it is very specific to what industry you're in and what requirements you have on your actual blasting process. Again, if you are any sort of hobbyist, a reclamation system is always a nice addition. I personally think that a dust collector is much more important, but it's not always necessary unless you are in an industry where your finish has to be to a certain specification. Now, two more things that I want to throw in here as a bonus tidbit about reclamation systems. The first thing I want to talk about is actual maintenance when it comes to these, and the second thing I want to talk about is setting them up for a siphon or a pressure pot setup. Now, when it actually comes to maintenance, there are no moving parts inside of the reclamation system itself. That's because it's all due to that cyclone property. So the only thing that you are going to have to check in the future is to make sure that you don't have any wear on the inside. Sandblasting is a very abrasive process. You do have particles that are intended to be able to take away material off of a part flowing around inside of these things, so they can wear down in the future. You're typically not going to see that. Specifically with our reclamation systems, this top part is removable, so if you have any issues in the future, we can absolutely help make sure you guys are up and running. But these things really have no maintenance besides guaranteeing that you aren't starting to form any serious divots or holes inside the top portion, and we've never seen that happen. It's just a potential that you guys need to look for, and that includes the hoses flowing in and out. The second thing is setting these up for siphon or pressure pot setups. Now, on certain machines, specifically something like the VH4000, the hopper is so low to the floor that if you want a pressure pot setup, you have to have a reclamation system. That just gives us the available space that we need to put the pressure pot underneath there. Now, as you can see, this is set up with a metering valve here. This is a very simple design. It flows less media considering it's a siphon machine. And actually, if you guys want more information on siphon versus pressure pot machines, click somewhere over here. We've got a full video that explains all of that, but you can definitely have a siphon or pressure pot machine on a reclamation system. All right, thank you guys very much for watching. If you found this information useful, make sure you go ahead and like this video. Also, check out all the other videos we have on our channel. We post content not only for sandblasting, but wet blasting and hydroblasting alike. So make sure you guys go check it out. There are thousands of minutes worth of content on there. If you have any other questions, make sure you leave it below. We will put that into a video and make sure you guys have all of the information you need to get the absolute best finish out of your surface finishing equipment. Again, if you like this video, please consider subscribing. If you are ready to get the best surface finishing equipment in your shop today, you can call us at 828-202-5563 or check out our website, vaporhoninTechnologies.com. We have all of our machines listed on there with pricing. That way you guys know exactly what you're getting. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.